it was just kind of like an off statement. Someone just came into my chat and was just like, is this like a neural ripoff or something? And that really got to me. That really got to me, man. And he was like, and I was like, no, I'm nothing like Neuro. I mean, I love Neuro. I watch a lot of his streams. He's a great Zerg and he's a great streamer, but I'm definitely not him. And the guy was like, oh, well, why are you taking offense to this? I'm like, man, you just, like, streaming is kind of like an art form. And as an artist, you never want to just be told, like, oh, your work is like this. Or, like, your work is like this person's. Yeah. It's like, it's just such like it's a blow. It's a blow to your like creativity. It's a blow to your style. It's a blow to your personality. To be like, oh, you're like this person.
Yeah, man.
So I just saw that Neuro was on, and I was like, oh, I might give him a quick message. He probably won't reply, but I'm curious if he. He seemed like, I know he's like an all good guy, but I'm curious if he would be kind of bothered because my style, I guess, is quite similar to his. And maybe I'm curious if he just had anything.
We're talking about that Neuro dude, and he has like a he's
the
got
dreadlocks.
long hair and quite a long neck. He's Grandmaster.
yeah. That Neuro.
That the guy? Yeah. I couldn't tell if you're saying like Neuro or Nero, and I don't know.
Right.
I don't know anybody who's named Nero, so I was just double checking that.
Yeah. I mumble a bit, so that's fair enough. Oh, I guess we'll see. I'm not sure if he's streaming right now. Yes. I mean, I really like Nero's stream. I like the way he's like really casual and he's just like, how he talks about the game. He doesn't like things that I remember watching him, and it was the first time I realized like, why get mad? Like why, like. That like cheesy Reaper all-in, that wasn't an easy win for my opponent. That took skill to do. I mean, it may be frustrating to face, but to kind of have this assumption that everything is easy if it beats you, that's not entirely true.
Yeah. I find a lot of people get caught into that. That trap.
Adepts are OP or like Ultralisks are OP, and it's like, dude, you're fighting Ultralisks with Marine Marauder. Of course you're losing.
I don't understand why people are so vocal and aggressive anyway. I mean, until I'm like Grandmaster's top 20, none of it really matters anyway.
No, of course not.
There's still glaring flaws in my play that if I fix probably wouldn't make that unit so OP in my mind if I just fixed other things in my play. I find like because StarCraft 2 is so fast paced, those little kinks they matter. It's like, for example, the adept pressure. If you don't have things set up already.
Yeah, because I died a lot to that, and then when I figured out what timing it hits, and I was like, oh well, I just built roaches at that time. Bam! It's like that doesn't do anything anymore.
Yeah. You fend it off, you stave it off, and I mean, most people will just keep losing in that spot and just go, oh well, the unit's imbalanced. This is why I've taken a break from the game, or it's just I've never really understood it, and it holds a lot of people back. I imagine.
Yeah, it definitely does.
The whole defeatist victim attitude, like my race is the weakest, everyone else is abusive. And
I don't think there's a problem in thinking that like, I've always thought to myself like, shit, Zerg kind of feels underpowered. I know, realistically it's not, but I think that allows me to try and think of its weaknesses and work on that. But like for me to be vocal about it and be like, oh well, Zerg just sucks versus air and there's nothing Zerg can do. That's not true. That's not true at all. This game is very well balanced. There's a lot of time put into it.
Yep, and just because in one matchup you have to play a certain style doesn't mean like just because you can't keep playing that style doesn't mean that the other race is OP. Like in PvT, I have to play very defensive until I get at least 2 modes of splash out. Yeah. And in PvZ, I can be a lot more aggressive. I don't go, oh, PvT is imbalanced because I'm stuck defending until 3.5 bases almost. Yeah. It's whatever.
It feels. I feel the same way with this
It's
Tyrion as
all
well.
asymmetrical balanced anyway.
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly. I do have a frustration against Tyrion, but I would never say it's imbalanced. Like Tyrion, like they just if it doesn't feel good when your opponent is always going to be the aggressor in a matchup, and it can make you feel
No,
like you're weak.
no.
It can make you feel like there's nothing you can do if like you're just always when you never get to attack. It makes you feel like completely powerless. And I know I've been frustrated about that with Tyrion lately, but I remember back in the day, I couldn't deal with Tyrion drops. I could not do it. I couldn't split my army. They would like lift up from one place and then go on the cliff right next to it and be like, oh shit, there go all my units. And but then I just like figured out how to split my units and it wasn't a problem anymore. And just had to realize that, yeah, it's I'm not losing because this is broken. I'm losing because I'm not good enough.
Yeah, and that's what it really comes down to. I mean, for the longest time back in Wings of Liberty, I was trying to break into Diamond and Masters, but yeah, I'd put the game down after a couple losses, consecutively. I'd just be like, nah, I hate this game. Yeah, I can't deal with the stim timings, 3-rack stim timings. This is shit, But like, it was a change in mindset. That allowed me to break into Diamond, Masters, and then eventually Grandmasters for a season. So,
Oh wow, I didn't realize you'd been Grandmaster.
oh,
Well done, bro.
yeah, on the C server, I probably was Grandmaster on the US server as well, but I never really played on the US server because of this was back when C was quite populated.
Mm.
Moon
Oh, it's not anymore.
Yeah. Well, I know. That's why I'm on the US server. It took too long. But yeah, no, I was Grandmaster at a time, and I used to play pros on the regular. But I mean, yeah. Anyway, it was the change of mindset that really just allowed me to improve that much. And once, I just wish more people would approach the game with a more open mindset instead of,
Yeah.
this is OP, this is, this race is an advantage here, and it's just pointing fingers, and really the finger should be pointed towards yourself, because as I say, unless you're Grandmaster top 20, mate, there's always something you can be improving on. You lost that game not because of the unit itself, you lost it because of something else, or several things,
Definitely. And again, it's going to be the asymmetric gameplay. Like, it's StarCraft's greatest strength. Like, go play Age of Empires if you're annoyed about asymmetric gameplay.
Yeah. No, I mean, yeah. Oh, it's
and a lot of times when I face...
probably why I keep coming back to this game, really, as well.
Yeah, that's why we all do, I guess. I'll play other games, but StarCraft will always be my game. And people will say, like, holy shit, like, you got really good APM, and you can, like, multitask really well and all this. And I'm like, oh, you should play League of Legends. You'll be amazing in that game. And it's like, I can't, man. Like, I can only... Knowing how difficult StarCraft is, I can only have one competitive game.
Oh, absolutely.
I couldn't manage
I can't go back. It's like the red pill, or whichever pill it is that, it's once you've had a taste of just how brutal and awesome this game can be, and hard, there's nothing, like, I struggle sitting down playing a single player game these days, because it's just, it just seems so petty and it's just crap,
Yeah, definitely.
Pales in comparison. And especially, as you say, I can't play another competitive game anymore.
No.
I used to love MMORPGs, for example.
Like, I thought I'd be able to get into them, but I just found, like, I mean, I love Skyrim and I love Fallout, and I'll definitely play those games a lot, but I don't have the same patience, I think, to play those games. Or there's something, like, I was having this discussion when I was doing my 12-hour stream, that StarCraft is probably the most difficult game to do a 12-hour stream, especially if you're doing games back to back, because it's not like, say, Destiny, where there's a lot less APM. It's that simple. Like you got like your thumbsticks and you're shooting, but that pales in comparison to the concentration, the physical motor skills, and the stamina. Definitely the stamina of keeping that high-paced, high concentration for a long period of time. And that's why you do see a lot of StarCraft streamers. They'll be like, they'll have a few losses and they'll just like, I'm done for the day, and you know why. And as a StarCraft player, you know why, because it just feels like shit. When I was doing my 12-hour
Yeah,
stream, my first 6 games I lost. Like, I was in a slump, man. I was feeling like shit. But then I was able to pull it back, and yeah, it's definitely the most crushing game, because when you lose, it's your fault. It's not your team's fault. It's not your race's fault. And a lot of people try to blame that, but that's not true at all. But when you win, it's the most rewarding thing. It's I bet you. I don't care if it was a cheese. I don't care if it was like some bullshit. Like, it doesn't matter. You won, and your opponent can go, oh well, Terran sucks against this, and that's bullshit. Like, that's so OP. Zerg needs to get nerfed. Yeah, but you lost. You lost because it was your fault. You didn't lose because of balance.
yeah, you lost because of you didn't do this, this. You missed this timing. You did that wrong. You should have been on the watchtower. You know, there'll be 20 different reasons, or
Yeah.
you know, that all accumulated to that one loss. But then people chalk it up to no, it's that unit. Is
Yeah,
just
it's
OP,
BS. It's so
know,
BS. Like,
the
when I
late
like
game is
cheese
just
when I cheese Terrans, and they would just be like, oh, that's rubbish. Are you doing this because you have no skill? And I'm like, man, you didn't defend it properly. Like, I've faced people who defend it. I've faced really high level players who just make it look like a joke. You just did it really shit. Like, the only person to blame is like, and yeah, they'll chalk it up to something else. And it's such a trap. It's definitely a trap.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, that's the exact same mindset that I approach PvP with when I try and think of new timings. I'll do it until someone beats it. Like, I'll learn
Yeah.
the build to a crisp, and then until someone beats it, then I watch the replay and I'm like, okay, so that's how you defend it. So the next time someone does it against me, that's the appropriate response. Thank you, bro.
Yeah.
I didn't think, oh, it's just game. It's broken. The game can't.
Yeah.
Go
That's the
past
great
that point.
thing.
If that guy goes that build, it's just over. You know, if I didn't go that build as well, it's just straight over. You know, people are just so like, man, you've got so many options.
Yeah.
So many different ways.
There's so
of
many ways to
tackling
react
each
against
problems.
it. That's why it's
You've
really
got
interesting
all the
doing the
tools in the
same build
world.
again and again and again, because each opponent reacts differently, and each game can react differently depending on like whether units were scouted or if units were lost at a particular time. And that's why it's really fascinating, because a great thing about cheese is you do it again and again and again, right? And you start to learn how to transition out, and you learn how to, from what you've scouted, what you need to move into, and then you get better at executing those timings, and then you learn the stage after that. And so it just feels like the more it's like a map. You're mapping out all the different responses that your opponent can do, and the different reactions you have to do in response to that.
Yep. And I mean, I'll lose 1,000 times over, but as long as I figure out the different variations and permutations that I need to take, when I scout this and that, then it's all worth it. Yeah, it's definitely all worth it. I mean, that's how I got to Grandmaster back in the day. Is that I learned 3 very solid builds, and just massed games until I learned every single response to it, and then it all just came down to the micro, because the macro was all automated.
Yeah.
I knew every appropriate response. Then it just came down to unit control, and then once I got good at that, that was when it broke from Masters 1 into Grandmaster. And I think it's there's so much you can say about this game, really.
And I guess that's why it's so terrifying. Like the top Korean Terrans is that you know exactly what they're going to do, but that just makes it worse. You know what they're going to do, and you're not going to be able to respond to that, and that's what's so terrifying. I think definitely one of the rewarding things is coming up with your own builds. I have a build in ZVZ that I do on very specific maps, and it has kind of a low win rate, but when it does win, it's an incredible feeling, because a lot of times, like, a lot of my opponents who I actually beat with it, like, they're not even mad. They're just like, whoa, what the fuck was that? And I'm just like, yeah, boy! So I do this thing where, like, I rush to lair, and I spread overlords all the way to their base, and I mass queens, and then when I hit lair, I drop creep with all of them, and I just, like, march across the map with, like, mass queen zergling, and it hits really quick. So it's like this weird thing that like people haven't seen before. And it's not. I guess it's not very competitive, but I love throwing it in like tournaments just because it's like it's so bizarre that it's
Yep.
learning strategies like that has the advantage of your opponent not practicing against it and not knowing the appropriate responses to it. But if you have played it a lot, then you know the different outcomes that people can do. So you're experienced and you've mapped out what that game will look like, but your opponent hasn't, and they're kind of in the dark and they're trying to figure it out as they go. Whereas you know what's up. All right, that was cool chat, bro. Do you want to check on another game, or you reckon you're done?
Yeah, sweet. Go ahead.